Want to level up your leadership? Welcome to the Boss Coach.
Hey boss, how's business? Patrick got me talking in metrics. Hey boss, how's business? I'm the boss coach of my own moves. Hey
Da. I think that's called swing music, right? That's when the song has like a regular steady pulse like a swinging pendulum. Cool stuff, Daddy-O. Well, hey boss, how's business? Hey, how's your schedule looking lately? Are you back-to-back Zooms all day long like a lot of us? And how many of those could have been emails? Let's be serious. At least a third, I'll bet. And remember to block off time for yourself on the calendar for actual work. It keeps people from scheduling over it. Well, thanks for clicking and listening. My name is Patrick McGranahan, and welcome back to The Boss Coach. If this episode was shared with you by a very thoughtful friend or coworker and you are new, please check out the podcast trailer. That is episode 100. It gives you background on what The Boss Coach is all about, what my mission is, what I'm trying to do. Of course, you've got lots of stuff from season 1 as well, focusing more on basics for leadership. And then in this season, we're getting a little more in-depth, but definitely check out season 1 for lots of good base level information. But let's jump right into today's topic. It is another sequel. Yes, you loved it last season, and you'll love it this time too. We talk a lot about how to lead with empathy and intelligence, but we've all encountered leaders who missed the mark. And what do we call those?
You work done. Watch out for the soul. Look out, here comes a real Bosshole.
That's right, we've all known Bossholes, right? And now we always go positive on the Boss Coach, so don't think we're just going to make fun of bad bosses the entire time. A little bit, but there's a twist. We're going to diagnose what went wrong here. Very few people just are evil in their DNA. They misbehave for some kind of a reason. Now, you've seen the Horrible Bosses movies, right? And then, of course, the classic 9 to 5 and even The Devil Wears Prada. Now, they had enough of their terrible tyrants and maybe took it to the extreme. It's one thing to just quit, but those characters wanted revenge in some way, and bad leaders just stir up your emotions. The same way that good leaders inspire the right emotions, bad leaders go the opposite direction. You matter both ways. So my real question is, why do bosses go bad? There's really only 3 reasons. Number 1, they're not trained or not interested. This is like incompetence. They're in over their head, but they can actually get better. You can help that one. Number 2 type is the wolf. That means they're the wrong personality to be a leader. They love bossing people around. They love lording over people. It's really hard to fix a wolf. And then number 3, burnout. They were good once, but bad culture killed their desire to be better. And that might even be because they had a bad boss. I don't know, either way, but burnout can be fixed as well. Like last time, I asked my network for input to tell their own Bosshole stories, and again, they didn't disappoint. So here are some of my favorite personal anecdotes, mostly in their own words, but with the help of our friend, AI. Bosshole number 1, we'll call that the gladiator.
I had a narcissist for a boss. Loved her at first, then hated her. She went around telling everyone who reported to her that when she left, she'd name them as her successor. She created a gladiator fest with her team stabbing each other in the back and working themselves to death to win her favor. And guess what? It was all for naught. She left the bank and was replaced by an outside resource.
So I hear this kind of scenario all the time. People pitting employees against each other to get more productivity. It's like a shot of caffeine. It gives you a short-term burst until everyone finds out what's going on, and then it all backfires. It's kind of like the plot to Glengarry Glen Ross, if you've seen that. And also the episode of The Office called Beach Games, I believe, where Michael had everybody trying out to be his replacement, and of course it ended up not being the case at all. So why do they act like this? Why would the boss do this? Well, it's kind of a classic wolf move, right? Using people as pawns for your enjoyment, so pitting them against each other just to see the melee that ensues. But also, as I said, it does kind of work short term. It's just sociopathic. This person wanted to create chaos, so their reports turned on each other and their own incompetence could go unnoticed. All right, let's look at Bosshole number 2. We'll call this one the drunk.
Out of nowhere, I was fired by my general manager at a restaurant/winery, and that same night he himself got fired for dancing drunk on a table in front of guests. But then, we both went and worked next door at another fancy restaurant.
Wow, okay. Well, you might be thinking, how does this person trust that manager to go work with him again? But it's the food service industry, so it does kind of make sense to me, but I won't go into that. Maybe they were all at the same level at the new place, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, do as I say, not as I do was the spirit of this Bosshole. Obviously, setting a terrible example and earning that firing. Now, this one, though, I'd bet is a burnout case, right? That industry will definitely do it to you. He turned to drinking, and then the rest makes sense. They were probably once good at their job because they cared, and they liked the people, and they loved the environment, but that all got squeezed out of them over time, being overworked and underpaid and under-resourced. Logically ending by dancing drunk on a table. What a way to go out. All right, let's look at boss hole number 3, the tormentor.
Long ago, I worked for a bank's mortgage company. My boss singled me out almost every day. She would publicly humiliate me, critique my work in front of others, and basically bullied me. She even backed me into a corner in her office and popped me in the chest with her fingers so hard she left a bruise. But the tides turned as they always do, and a new department head came in. This department head was a tough taskmaster, but saw something in me she liked. And so, I went from being beaten down to being raised up. Meanwhile, my tormentor went from being raised up to being beaten down. The tormentor called me one night in tears because she had a report due to our new boss and wasn't proficient in Word, which I was, and begged me to help. So I did. My husband said I was nuts. While I was helping this woman who had been so cruel to me, she was crying that she didn't understand why the new boss hated her so much, picked her work apart all the time, and nothing she did was right. Never realizing the irony.
So this is a really good story because it has a satisfying ending in a couple different ways. This boss hole got abusive, completely inappropriate. So I would say wolf energy right there. Singling someone out, making them the target of your bad emotions and the target of all your ire for whatever reason. But they also couldn't use Microsoft Word, so maybe they're a little bit incompetent too. But they got their comeuppance, and even better, the employee here took the high road and showed empathy. That's why I really think this is a very satisfying story. But how do you think the boss got that way? I don't think she had been treated like that before. So I don't think it's a case of them just modeling the behavior that had been given to them, mainly because she was so surprised when the tables were turned on her and the new boss was mean to her. I don't think she experienced that before. And I think she just bullied her way to the top. The old department head then promoted her to kick the can down the road. We've seen this so many times. They're just making it somebody else's problem. So then this bosshole thought that her way worked because she kept getting enabled by people above her. Don't promote bad bosses. All right, let's look at bosshole number 4, the Terminator.
At 7:30 in the morning, my boss told me he was firing my coworker at the end of the day. I had to work with this guy all day and pretend I didn't know. I still resent this not only because my coworker was let go, but because I was not in leadership and the boss had no business telling me that. So awkward.
All right, let's just call this out now. You probably caught this. That boss was hoping this person would spill the beans to the coworker so the boss wouldn't have to break the news, right? Classic cop-out. Big boundary issue too. I mean, no wonder they have resentment to this day. How do you think this boss got that way though? Maybe out of laziness, maybe some burnout. Nobody likes firing people, so they were just hoping for an easy out. And they trusted my friend here with a very personal matter on another employee, which is completely inappropriate. Come on, do your own dirty work, bosshole. All right, bosshole number 5, finally, the abuser.
We had a number of outside hires come into the company all at once following hiring a new CEO. I reported to one of these guys and he was hard to read at first. I was trying to get promoted to a manager role, so I let him know that was my aspiration. That's where I went wrong because then he knew what I wanted and held it over my head to make me jump through hoops. One day he said, "I'll be honest, the other leaders here, the new ones, don't like you. But I'm the only one who likes you and I'll try to convince them you're good." I bought that at first, until I realized that's exactly what an abusive partner says. "I'm the only one who likes you, so you'd better be loyal to me." He was lying, of course, so once I got him out of my head, I just did my own thing until he gave up and promoted me.
Ugh, yeah, this is a weird one. Exactly like an abusive partner. That's the right way to describe them. Separating them from everybody else, all the people that are their allies, making them on their own island, cutting them away from the herd, saying, "I'm the only one who likes you, you can only trust me." I always say to tell your leader of your intentions to be promoted, but in this case, they use it against them. It's a control freak in a really creepy way. So how do you think this abuser got that way? They're probably like that in personal life, and it works for them. And then they end up just forcing people to leave and then replace them with loyal sycophants. To quote Michael Bolton from Office Space, "I don't need to change. I'm not the one who sucks." The bottom line is, this one values loyalty, but in the very, very wrong way. So obviously these are all terrible tyrants, and what's sad is that we all have these stories. Bad leaders drive great people out of good jobs. You know what they say, right? People don't leave jobs, they leave bad leaders and bad culture caused by bad leaders. And these bossholes think that what they're doing works because nobody really ever confronts them. So let's focus on how you can prevent bossholes. As a leader, number 1, call out their behavior as individual contributors. You see it happening in the very beginning. So talk about soft skills, EQ, and how to influence people in a softer way than just being a bulldozer. Remember, a lot of these bossholes got where they were because somebody promoted them just to get them out of their hair. Don't be that boss. Call them out early. Number 2, don't promote them to pass the buck. Even if other leaders think they're good, trust your gut, not theirs. A lot of times they have blinders from not working directly with them. Trust your gut. And number 3, get them leadership coaching if they're salvageable. Teach them the better ways because you definitely can get more out of people if they're taught the right way. Make them listen to the boss coach maybe. But either way, they can be fixed in most cases. But let's also talk about an even tougher subject this time that we didn't cover last time. What should you do if you're the target of the boss hole? Everyone has a boss, so this applies to absolutely everybody. Little disclaimer here. Yes, you can always leave the position to get away from this boss hole. But again, you're not the one who sucks, so stand your ground. And if you want to stay, here's what you do. A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. A, alliances. So make sure people know what's going on. Make sure peers and coworkers, etc. You need witnesses, right? So make sure that they understand the types of things that you are experiencing. HR could be an ally too. I know we like to dog on HR, but there really are cases like this where they can be your best friend. All right, B is boundaries. A boss hole will take and take and take, so you need to push and push and push back. Set guardrails like contact hours, job descriptions, etc. Like in the example above, when they stopped engaging with the boss hole let up and they eventually got their way. All right, C of ABCD is calm. Don't fight fire with fire. Don't match their energy. Keep a level head. They're trying to draw you off sides and then retroactively justify the way they treat you based on how you reacted to what they did to you. So don't get suckered into it. Remain calm. And finally, D of ABCD is document. Document, document, document everything. Make sure it's accessible too. So if they take away your access, you have that information stored away somewhere else. This is another place where HR can really help you out. They take notice when things are written down. If you're just complaining, then they take it as some sort of a personality conflict. That's not what it is. When it's in writing, that they know this is something that's admissible in court and they have to take it seriously. So document everything. So now that you know how to prevent boss holes and how to handle them too, realize that the villain doesn't always win. Remember that. Hold your ground. You don't have to be run out of a great job because of a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad boss hole.
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
Miranda, I actually did confirm last
Details of
night.
your incompetence do not interest me.
Please bore someone else with your question.
There's some reason that my coffee isn't here. Has she died or something?
Did you fall down and smack your little head on the pavement? That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all.
So here's what you can do right now to level up your leadership and stand your ground. First things first, write down your boss hole story. Type it out, read it as a third person, and then diagnose why you think they behave that way. You've probably been harboring a lot of resentment about this person, but really sit down and look at it and say, why do you think they behave that way? And how can I not be that way? Were they incompetent? Were they a wolf sociopath? Were they just burn out? What is it? But as soon as you can forgive them, then that will lead to healing and that will make you a better leader. Well, as always, thank you for your time. I'm Patrick McGranahan, the Boss Coach. Make sure to follow the Boss Coach if you're on Spotify. Some platforms have you subscribe, and that way you get notice of new episodes. I'm trying to get into YouTube podcasts too, but boy, they make it really difficult. Thank you to my recent subscribers. I'm getting a few of those. Special shout out to my fans who haven't missed an episode. I think I've seen a couple that listened to the episode more than once, so that's really encouraging. Remember to like and leave those comments just like the algorithm likes. In this case, comment with your boss hole story. You can remain anonymous. You don't have to say who it was. Or even your favorite bad boss movie. That's always fun too. Keep sharing these episodes. If you remember last year, my podcast was one of the most shared in this entire genre, which I really appreciate. Share especially with your friends dealing with the boss hole so they know that they're not alone and they have tools to fight back. Also, thank you for engaging on TikTok and Instagram. The Boss Cat and Boss Pug shorts are really well received and I have a lot of fun doing them when they cooperate, of course. And you know what? While we're on the topic of comments, I'm going to give a shout out to the most recent commenter. Her name is Erica Paulette. Thank you for taking a moment to join the conversation and share your thoughts. For that, you truly are a boss. And the biggest shout out goes to my friends who donated these stories today. They all wanted to be anonymous this time, but just know that I appreciate you. And I really love the lessons that came out of these stories of terrible tyrant boss holes. Well, I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next time on The Boss Coach. Back to work, boss.
Mr. Horrible, Mr. Horrible. We're not done with you yet, Mr. Horrible.
Thank you for joining us today for The Boss Coach, hosted by Patrick McGranahan. We'd also like to thank our associate producer Hannah and consulting contributor Stephanie. Original music provided by Sono AI Studio. All statements and opinions by our host and guests are solely their own observations and may not reflect those of their contemporaries or employers. Please check out other episodes of The Boss Coach for more valuable opportunities to level up your leadership. Until next time, I am your announcer, Ava. Have a great day, and as always, lead with your heart.